Many gardeners genuinely worry to cut the main cane on their climbing rose because they worry that that cane is not going to grow next year. There is a butterfly moth in my hair. Well, in this video I will show you the results and I will show you what happens if you cut your cane. And there's also a big question, where to cut that cane? At the top, in the middle, or at the base? Again, we will see the results. This question is popping up in our rose conversations over and over again. So beginner rosarian is purchasing their first climbing rose, bringing it to the garden, planting it, and that year their rose is creating several, maybe long or maybe shorter, but still those are main canes, right? And they might create a flower on top or might not. So beginner rosarian is thinking, if I deadhead that stem, am I going to damage it, that it's not going to grow next year? And how this biggering is going to happen, how the height is built up on the climbing rose. I remember thinking the same way when I started my rose garden many years ago. I kind of couldn't understand how this growth is going to happen when the first stems are so short. So here is the best answer. When the rose creates that stem, that is it. That stem is not going to continue to grow next year. Roses are not trees, where trees have one trunk and that trunk lives and exists for the life of the plant, right? Roses, what they do, first year they create stems. Those stems stop growing next year, they create flowers, and rose redirects its energy and focuses on creating new stems. And those stems are going to be stronger and bigger and longer. So that's how height in climbing roses happens, that vigor. You see my generous garden, oh, just ready to open its blooms. Maybe in a week it's going to be gorgeous. So do subscribe, because we are going to do a beautiful tour of this wonderful place. And I think this year my garden is just the best because it's so mature and so lush and beautiful. And I spent so many days doing all crazy DIY projects, 52 by the way, can you believe it? But I'm getting myself into a rabbit hole. Let's go back to the rose. So we figured out, right? If the rose created that cane finished growing that year. Nothing will happen to it. Rose will be growing new canes, and that's how it will increase in vigor and height year after year. So the real question is, what will happen to your cane, this original cane, year 2, year 3, year 4? Well, it all depends where you're going to cut it. At the top, you deadhead the flower. In the middle, and I have an example here, or you will cut it all the way to the ground. So let's explore these three possibilities of cuts, what will happen, and what is the situation where you have to do them. So this is the cane which I just cut out from my generous gardener. Look at it. It is dying. There is some sort of a wound here which happened maybe in spring, so all the supplies are restricted. And look at the top, how sickish and malnutritioned it looks, right? So this cane clearly is old, unproductive, damaged, and that is when we do the cut at the base of the rose. So anything during spring pruning, anything unproductive, sickish, old, we cut out, and that's how we help the climber to rejuvenate. Right? We take those old stems out, new stems are being created, and that's how our rose keeps looking beautiful and full of blooms, because new growth creates better blooms. Old growth, look at this. All this stem managed to create only one little puny little flower, that's all. So we do it on mature climbers. We take the thick, long, old stems out all the way to the base. We don't leave any stumps. We want to cut it as deep as we can. And we do it for rejuvenation. We do it to take old wood out, otherwise that wood will be just sitting there, slowly declining, falling off. We do it for as nature does it, but we just do it a little bit faster to keep it nice and clean and beautiful. And usually it is done during spring pruning, but these clearing and cuts which are cutting dead wood or damaged wood can happen during any part of the year. For example, my generous gardener, already I had to take 2 long stems out because they were damaged, and during spring I didn't see that damage. It happens, this was happening probably for 2 months, slowly, and finally I saw the presence of yellow leaves. I started to investigate and look at all this. So I just took it all the way down at the base. So this is possibility number 1, taking the cane all the way down. And usually we do 1-2 canes every year to help rose to keep going, and we do it on mature climbers. We don't do it on young roses. So first 3 years on your climber I wouldn't do anything. I would let my climber figure it out, create new canes, and only maybe 4th year of its life in your garden I will start taking away those short first canes, right, about which you worried that they are not going to grow next year. I will take them out all the way at the base. Okay, so let's go to, I was keeping it in the water just to show you. Let's go to the possibility number 2. You cut it somewhere in the middle, which is not advised in a lot of situations unless you really need it. And I have it right here with my generous gardener rose. Here it is, right here at the base. In spring, I did it deliberately. I cut it only maybe 3 feet from the ground, 2.5 feet from the ground. Why did I do it? Because I wanted to save all this growing mass of the rose. My rose had that trunk already creating young, strong side shoots, and those shoots were very healthy, very productive, and I knew that I'm going to get a lot of flowers from them. Otherwise, if I will cut it all the way to the ground, this side of the rose would be so bare because I will lose all that growth, right? So if you have my situation where you have a lot of productive canes coming from the old cane, you can cut it halfway. You can save those canes and let them produce flowers for you. Well, the negative of it is that your rose, if you do that to your rose is not inclined to produce basal shoots, which are ultimately the best shoots because there is no old wood, right? There is old wood in between, which is getting older and older every year, and eventually I would need to cut it all out and lose all that growth, right? So usually the first choice is better to cut it all the way to the ground, but again, there are situations where you need to keep your rose going, and I'm not sure how this rose will behave. I will see next year. That stem is very healthy looking, so you have to judge. If the stem is old looking, you want to take all that section of your rose out, and yes, you're going to lose all the blooms, but your rose, instead of spending energy on all that, the loss of blooms is temporary. Your rose will focus on creating new basal shoots, and those basal shoots are the best because they have all the new wood. There is no middle old wood which can go damaged, or something can happen to it, and oopsie, all that top growth depends on this old wood. So that's possibility number 2, and I did it in my garden. I really don't like to do it because I know that weakness of the old wood. But here, my generous garden, I wanted to be balanced, this side with that side, so I kept it. Oh, look again, I can't have enough of my generous garden. By the way, the smell is beautiful. We usually have dinners here, and the scent of the rose, you can feel it during the soft evenings when the wind comes down, and the scent starts lingering in the garden. Very romantic. And the possibility number 3, where you are just deadheading the cane and leaving it as it is. It is advised, highly advised, to do it, this treatment on new canes on the rose. You don't want to cut them halfway because that's the future of your rose, right? The future blooms depend on that long, nice cane. So the new young canes are slightly deadheaded, and that's it, and are left for next year. Now, what happens to those canes next year? It all depends on you. Oh, the wind is so pleasant today. It's a beautiful day. I'm sure my microphone is picking it all up. Sorry, guys. Ooh, let's wait it out. But it's so beautiful. And look how roses move. in the wind. Generous garden has very stiff stems, so it can take it, all that wind. But otherwise I wouldn't do this to my soft stemmed flowers, my soft stemmed roses. Okay, so where were we? Oh my gosh, again I'm in the rabbit hole. Oh, what will happen to the cane next year? Next year, that cane, if you train it horizontally, it will start producing side shoots, right? Look at this, side shoots, and each side shoot will have a rose for you. If you leave it as is in this vertical position, that cane might produce several side shoots on top, or maybe not, and there would be maybe 2-3 roses on top, and the rest of the cane is going to be skinny and green, only leaves. And if you're happy with your climber being that way, you can do it, but I think we want blooms from our climbers, right? So you train your rose horizontally, and that cane will suddenly be nice, full and green. Look at all these canes. And what I did here with this beautiful generous garden, which is, by the way, is thriving here in this situation because there was a mulberry tree. We took it out. This rose got so much sun last year that this year it had all the energy to push new growth. And look, these canes, they were very long here. I couldn't train them to go at the back, you see, to our gazebo. So I decided to take maybe 1/3 of the main stem, trim it, and let it cascade. And look how lovely it is. It is so happy here that it's shading all my strawberries there. But I love how these canes move on the wind. And we had, 2 days ago, we had tremendous wind. My roses were just doing fine with it. You were asking me about the birds from the previous video, because when I was filming, some birds looks like fell off their nests. I could not trace them. I think they're fine. They're back. I think it's a little bit late in the season that a lot of baby birds are at their flying stage. So I'm hoping that they were able to get back to their mommy dears and they're happy living somewhere among the trees in my garden. All right, my dear gardeners, if this video gave you courage to take care after your first climbing rose, please do subscribe. And I'm hoping that it was helpful. And thank you for spending time with me in the garden. We'll see you in our next video. Enjoy your day.